Hello again, year one. It's back with Mr. K, and we are going to move on now to our lovely English lesson today. And you can see the English display behind me. Okay, now I'm going to share our lovely interactive whiteboard slides for today, and we'll go through what we're learning in our English. We're moving on to a new topic, which is very, very exciting. Okay. So you can see there the date, and you can see we're moving on to our lovely English lesson now. So in our English today, we're going to be looking at traditional tales. And usually when we start our English, we would start with a cold task. Now, I always say to you, this is not where we get freezing cold or where we open all the windows and doors. What it means is we're going to do some writing and you get very little help. Now, that's not us being mean, but it's just to see how much you've remembered. So today is your chance to show us, Mrs. Brandt and I, your lovely, lovely writing and all of the lovely stuff that you can remember that we did in the autumn term. So our new topic is on traditional tales, and it says it here, traditional tales. Now, you may have heard of traditional tales before, and you may not have, but you may have heard of fairy tales before. Now, they're very, very similar. Okay, so there's a quick question here. What fairy tales can you remember? So maybe you can pause the video and you can have a little chat to the adult that you are with or somebody at home, maybe a brother or sister, and you could talk about some of the fairy tales that you can remember. Now, if you can't remember those, I've got some fairy tales down here for you to look at. Hopefully you've had a chance to have a chat about some of the fairy tales that you can remember. If you need a little bit more time, remember you can always pause the video and rewind as much as you like. So moving on today, we're going to start today, like we always do at the start of a new topic, with a cold spell. Now, this is 10 words, and what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to have a go at these 10 words on a scrap piece of paper, and you can send them in to the Elm email address, or you can send them into the Beach email address, depending on what class you are in. Now, remember, you need to use your growth mindset with these spellings. You may not know them. They're called common exception words. That means that they are quite tricky to sound out, but you may know how to spell them, and that is fantastic. Just give it your best shot. It's only 10 words, and remember, this is our cold spell. So we will complete these spellings again at the end of our English unit when you're back at school, and we will see incredible progress. Even if you get 1 out of 10 now, I guarantee you, you will all be getting 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 10 the next time we do them. So please don't panic. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to read the words out to you, and I would like you to have a go at spelling them. Remember, sound them out. Have a go. You might get it right. It really does not matter. Just try your absolute best, please. Okay, so word number 1 is the word no. I asked to go to the shop, but my mum said no. That's a nice, easy one for you to start with. No. Have a go at that one. Remember, if you need any more time throughout their spellings, you can pause the video to give yourself a little bit extra thinking time. Spelling number 2 is the word of. Can I have a piece of pizza, please? Of. Okay, number 3 is the word once. Just like in our traditional tales, you're going to hear the words once upon a time a lot. The word is once. Okay, spelling number 4 is one. At the start of our number line, after the 0, we have the number 1. Write the word one. Okay, moving on to line number 5. We're doing well. We're halfway there, team. The word is are. This is our school. Okay, be careful because there's a couple types of R's there, aren't there? Don't get confused. Listen to the context, the way that I'm saying it. This is our school. Okay, moving on to number 6. Pull. You may read sometimes when you go into shops, you might see on the door it says pull, and you have to pull the handle. The word is pull. Okay, number 7, the opposite of pull, push. We're going to line up, but I don't want to see you push. Push is the word. Number 8 is the word put. Just remember to put your hand up if you need help. Put. Number 9 is the word said. Mrs. Brandt said, "We're going to do science today this afternoon." Said. And last but not least is says. Says. Remember, if you need to go back to any of those spellings, you can always rewind the video. And if you need a little bit more time, you can pause. But I know you would have tried your absolute best, and well done, everyone. Okay, you can now put that piece of scrap paper to the side. You can forget about those. Please don't panic about those. Okay, you can mark those with an adult. I'm going to show you them, the answers now, so you can double check with an adult, but you don't need to worry about your score. Okay, here they are. Here are those lovely answers. So you've got no, of, once, one, are, pull, push, put, said, and says. Okay, remember, have a look at your corrections, but please don't panic. We will get there with those. Okay, moving on and moving back to our lovely traditional tales topic. Okay, today we're going to be looking into the story of the Little Red Hen. And here's a little picture of what that story looks like. There's a couple of quick questions here. Have you heard of it before? Maybe you've read this story before. Maybe you've never heard it before, and it's going to be a new story that I'm going to share with you. And there's another question that says, this is a traditional tale. Do you know what makes it a traditional tale? There are some things that traditional tales start with. Links to one of our spellings, actually. The word once. Very good. They do usually start with once upon a time, and they usually do have lovely, happy endings. But let's find out. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, only so I can share the story with you. Okay. So here we have the Little Red Hen story. Okay, and it starts with our characters here. You can see them on the screen. Maybe you can make a prediction about what you think the story is going to be about. What do you think is going to happen in this story? Okay, let's start reading. Once upon a time, there was a little red hen. The little red hen lived on a farm and was friends with a lazy dog, a sleepy cat, and a noisy duck. One day, the little red hen found some grains of wheat on the ground. "Who will help me plant these grains of wheat?" the little red hen asked. "Not I," barked the lazy dog. Woof, woof. "Not I," purred the sleepy cat. "Not I," quacked the noisy duck. Quack, quack. "Then I will," said the little red hen. So the little red hen planted the grains all by herself. When the wheat had grown, the little red hen asked her friends, "Who will help me cut the wheat?" "Not I," barked the lazy dog. Woof, woof. "Not I," purred the sleepy cat. "Not I," quacked the noisy duck. Quack, quack. "Then I will," said the little red hen. So the little red hen, can't get those words out today. So the little red hen cut the wheat all by herself. It's a bit of a tongue twister, that, isn't it? When all the wheat was cut, the little red hen asked, "Who will help me take the wheat to the mill to be made into flour?" "Not I," barked the lazy dog. I wonder who's going to come next. "Not I," purred the sleepy cat. "Not I," quacked the noisy duck. Quack, quack. "Then I will," said the little red hen. So the little red hen took the wheat to the mill, ground the wheat into flour. That's where they crush it right down and they turn it all around and it turns into flour, and carried it back to the farm all by herself. She's having to work on her own quite a lot, isn't she? By now, the little red hen was tired. "Who will help me bake the bread?" she asked. "Not I," barked the lazy dog. "Not I," purred the sleepy cat. "Not I," quacked the noisy duck. Quack, quack. "Then I will," said the little red hen. So the little red hen baked the bread all by herself. When the bread was finished, she asked, "Who will help me eat the bread?" What do you think the animals are going to say this time? Let's see if it's any different. "I will," barked the lazy dog. "I will," purred the sleepy cat. "I will," quacked the noisy duck. "No, I will," said the little red hen. So the little red hen ate all the bread herself. The end. And that's the end of our story. So in there's quite a lot of features, aren't there? It starts off a nice happy story, okay? And it's got some key features in there. We start with once upon a time, and we've got lots of repeated phrases. What did the animals say a lot? They said no a lot, didn't they? Okay, they said, "I won't help." And then right at the end, they changed their mind and they wanted to eat the bread, didn't they? Oh dear. Right, if you want to look at that story again, please feel free to rewind the video and you can hear me read it to you again. And you can go through the key parts. And let's go back to our lovely English learning now. We're going to be learning about that story. So it says, we've looked at the story of the Little Red Hen, which is fantastic. And we're going to do a recount of that story today. And what is a recount? We have looked at these before. So maybe you could tell the adult in the room with you what that word recount means. If you don't know, don't panic. I'm going to give you some clues here. So recount is where we are retelling the story. We're summarizing the story. We're thinking about the characters and the setting. We're thinking about the key events, especially the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story. And then we're thinking of the central lesson. Now, I think there is a lesson to be learned from the Little Red Hen story. I think it's teaching us about teamwork, isn't it? I think the Little Red Hen would have had a much easier day if all of her friends, the duck, the dog, and the cat, if they had all helped her. It would have been much easier, wouldn't it? Okay. So what I want you to do now is I'd like you to pause the video and I want you to think about the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story. Think about what happens at the beginning of the story, what happens at the middle of the story, and what happens right at the end. Okay, have a little think. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to box it up, team, together. So let's have a little think of what happened at the start. Well, at the start of the story, we were introduced to our characters. And we had the Little Red Hen, didn't we? Who else did we have? We had the Little Red Hen. We had the dog. We had the cat and the duck. Okay, those are our lovely characters that we are introduced to. Okay, now at the beginning, what happened? Share your ideas. Yeah, so they were trying to, the Little Red Hen was trying to get help with some of the jobs that she had to do. She had to pick the grain, plant it, okay, that kind of thing. But the other animals were not helping her. So we're introduced to characters, we're introduced to the setting. Now, setting is where it takes place. So it takes place on the farm, doesn't it? And we were introduced to the storyline, which is all to do with wheat, and it's collecting the wheat, working as a lovely team. Okay, now in the middle, there's a bit of a problem. Okay, and throughout the story, this problem repeats itself. What is the problem in our story? Now, I think the problem is that they're not working as a team. Okay, I think that is a major problem. It's got a weird color. Animals are not working as a team, which is a real shame. Now, I know in year one, we work really, really nicely as a team. Okay, and we always try and work nicely as a team. Right, I'm going to change that so you guys can see it. And there we go. So the animals are not working as a team, and they're not really willing to help, are they? Which is a shame. I know if it was year one, you guys would help each other. Now at the end of the story, what happens? Okay. Yeah, so at the end of the story, the hen has made a lovely loaf of bread, and she does not share it with her friends because she doesn't think they deserve it. Okay? Excellent work, team. So we've very easily summarized, just like we would at school, the story. We've got our characters, Little Red Hen, the dog, the cat, and the duck. We've got the setting, which is the farm, and we've been introduced to the storyline, which surrounds working together as a team and wheat. And the problem is the animals are not working as a team. There's a good word for that. I think some of the animals are being a little bit selfish. They're not thinking of other people. Then at the end, the hen gets a lovely loaf of bread. Okay, a lovely hot loaf of bread. Who doesn't love a lovely hot loaf of bread? But she doesn't share it with her friends because they have not been very helpful. And I think that is the message. Be helpful and you will get rewarded. So your challenge today, my friends, what I would love for you to do is I'd love for you to pause the video and you can use this word map to help you. It's got lots and lots of lovely key words on it. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to do a recount for me of the Little Red Hen story. Now, there are a couple of ways you can do this. You could do a story map, okay? And I'm going to stop sharing so you can see my story map. Okay, here is a story map. And you can see it starts with the Little Red Hen at the top here. And I've missed out a few steps. Maybe you could fill in the gaps for me and draw your own text map, which summarizes the story in lots of lovely little pictures. Okay, that's one of your challenges. You could do that. You could do some lovely writing for me. And here I started doing some lovely writing. Okay, the Little Red Hen. Once upon a time, there was a, you can finish the sentence. The Little Red Hen lived on a, she had 3 friends. And you could tell me who their friends were. See how much of the story you can remember. See how much of the story you can write. And remember, do email in your work. You can take pictures of it and you can email that into the Elm email address and the Beach email address because we would love to see those. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. If you need to pause the video here, please feel free to use that. And on this side, you've got our toolkit. Now, usually we'd go through our toolkit and we would talk about the key features. So maybe have a look through this toolkit as well to help you. Okay, that is the end of our English lesson today. So once you've written your story, remember to read through it. Remember to check for the always success criteria, the things that we always look for, our capital letters, our finger spaces, our full stops, and using our lovely phonics. I hope you enjoyed that English lesson and I hope you enjoyed that story. Mrs. Brandt and I cannot wait to read your Little Red Hen stories.